Okay, so make your way to your belly, and if you want your blanket, make it big enough that it would cover almost your whole thigh, support all of your hips and some of your belly, if that's how you're gonna roll today. Otherwise, just get into a comfy position on your belly and come into Makrasana. And let your forehead rest on the back of your hand or the back of your forearm. And start to allow yourself to settle. Feeling the tops of your feet, your knees, thighs, hips, belly, chest, elbows and forearms pressing down into the mat. And your forehead pressing down into the back of the hand. Kind of feeling that pressure on the forehead center. And allowing all those little muscles to relax. Sending the signal to the rest of your body that it can relax too. Start to pull in breath right in between each rib. Filling up your back, filling up the sides. Feeling your belly fill. Letting your shoulders relax and your jaw relax. And 2 more full rounds of breath here. No hurry. Come up onto your elbows and bend your right leg. Reach back for your foot, either on the, I like coming onto the inside of the foot. That's not always accessible. Outside of the foot, top of the foot, use a strap if you want to. And then, if it's possible, come back down onto kind of a half Makrasana. Instead of being up on your elbow like we often are in this quad stretch, see if you can come down. And if that's just way too much too fast, come back up to your elbow. And I feel like sometimes when we're propped up on the elbow, the concentration is so much in the shoulder that's holding us up that we can't really pay attention to the quad muscle that we're trying to lengthen. So as you breathe into that stretch in the middle of the thigh, start thinking about pressing the right hip point down and dragging the kneecap down toward the end of your mat. So making your leg as long as you can from hip to knee. Maybe pressing the heel closer to the seat. And 2 cycles of breath here. Release that slowly, slowly to the ground. Come back up onto elbows and switch sides. So find your foot however you find it. And then if you can, make your way back down to Makrasana or stay up on your elbow or supported somehow. So for the first couple of breaths, just settling into it. And then maybe adding the press of the left hip point down into the mat or into your blanket. The lengthening of the knee down toward the end of your mat. The press of the heel toward your seat. And 2 more breaths. And release your foot, come back into Makrasana for just 1 breath, 1 big inhale. 1 long exhale. And slide your hands under your shoulders, or kind of fingertips under the shoulders. Drag your elbows toward one another and shoulder blades toward one another. Inhale, teeny tiny weeny cobra. Exhale down. And we'll move through a few of these, each one getting a little bit higher, but only because your back is so strong, not because you're pressing into hands. So it may just be incrementally higher, but thinking about using those postural muscles to find a little more height each time. As you inhale on the way up and exhale on the way down. And this final one, employ the use of your arms. Inhale, lift up, shoulders are still away from the ears and drawing toward one another. Elbows are still drawing toward one another. Take a big inhale breath. And exhale all the way down, hands under forehead again. Find a breath, big inhale. Long exhale. Come up onto your hands and knees, and it might be a good idea to keep the blanket under your knees. It might just feel good. And if you want blocks under your hands to save wrists, definitely do that too. So if you have a block, slide it into the center of the mat. Bring your left hand to the center of the mat or to your block. And then dial your fingertips to the right just a little bit. So they're like your middle finger is pointing toward the upright corner of your mat. And then slide the left foot off of the mat, coming into your side plank. Reaching fingers up, pressing into the heel of the hand, drawing the belly in. Big inhale. and exhale down. So we'll switch sides. So right hand to the block, and then your fingertips turn so that you're kind of pointing toward the upper left corner of your mat. Slide the right foot off of your mat. Side plank on the other side. Pressing into the heel of the hand, big distance from hand to hand. Inhale. And exhale. Coming back into a nice wide-kneed child's pose. So that might feel nice on the blanket too. Once you arrive, flip your hands so that your palms are facing up. Bring your fingertips to your palms, making a fist. And then just drawing your fist toward your inner forearm. See if that provides you with any relief, or interlace fingers and just kind of roll wrists. Or just have the hands flipped over. Sometimes that twist in the wrist is enough to find a little relief. But here, be still. 2 full breaths. And coming back up onto hands and knees, left hand comes to the center of the mat or to the block. We come back into that side plank. This time, option to bend the right knee and reach the right hand back, maybe finding hand to foot, maybe not. If you have your hand in your foot or your foot in your hand, pressing the foot into the hand, finding that same quad stretch, just in a little different orientation here. Maybe eye gaze is up toward the ceiling. Find a breath. Come back out long and to tabletop. Switch sides. Right hand comes down. Up into side plank. Option to bend the knee and take hold of the foot, or just sending them toward one another. If they're together, press foot into hand. Eye gaze up. Come back out long again. Back to tabletop and down into child's pose. And do what you want with your wrists and hands. Roll them, keep them still. Don't think about them at all, whatever. And one more breath. And we'll come up onto hands and knees and into hero. So again, that block might be handy to sit on if being on knees this way is just not a sustainable practice for you. And send your right arm up. And bring your right fingertips behind you. They might land kind of at the top of the shoulders. They might not land anywhere. They might just be hanging out behind your head. that's the way mine are. If you press your head a little bit into your forearm, you might be able to get a little more feedback there. Option to bring the left hand to the right elbow and sit up super, super tall. On your exhale, find a little lateral flexion to the left. And one more breath. And back into center. Big inhale. Exhale, hands down. Then we move to the other side. Left arm up and fingertips down behind your head somewhere. Pressing the back of your head into your forearm. If you're interested, right hand to the left elbow. Send your elbow super high. Exhale to the right. And one more breath. Back to the center. Inhale, arms up. Exhale down. And then bringing the palms together, interlace all of your fingers and thumbs. First, roll your wrists. And stop in the center. Turn your palms inside out. Straighten your arms. That might be enough. Or inhale, reach up, look up. And exhale. As you exhale here, round your spine into a cat back. And if you're inhaling, arms up, send your chest forward and your tail back for what might feel like a little bit of a cow. Might just be a nice long spine. And exhale into your cat one more time. And then this time when you inhale, release the hands up to the sky. And exhale, arms come down. Then if you saw your blanket, move it out of the way so you can come to your back. So maybe you want that behind your head for support. And when you come to your back, at first, just bring feet flat to the mat, hands wherever you want, and find a little windshield wiper action. Just a little side to side. Next time you're in the middle, pull your knees into your chest. Send your feet straight up to the ceiling. Point and flex and circle all around. Bring both knees in. Keep your left knee in. Extend the right leg out onto the mat. Bring your left knee into your right hand and find your twist. You can kind of use your left elbow to give you a little push to start. And kind of like we were talking about, instead of finishing the twist all the way down to the mat, maybe here you can find a little resistance. So holding onto the knee and then kind of rolling back toward the left a little bit. So finding a little push-pull here. like you're going to roll to the left, but your right hand is preventing that. See if that does anything. And then see what changes if you start to straighten your leg. That might just be a whole lot of confusion for your leg and your hip and your back. Just check it out and then roll to your back. Pull your right knee into your chest. Left leg comes out long. And then your right knee comes into your left hand. Twist toward the final, where the foot is and knee are all the way toward the mat. And then resist. Roll back toward the right a tiny bit while your left hand stops you from doing that. Then maybe see what extending the right leg does. That might add a whole lot of hamstring and a whole lot of torque on your low back. So maybe just doing it very briefly, if at all. Come back to your back. Pull both knees into your chest. And a little rock from side to side. And then legs come out long, arms come out long. Find your Shavasana. Take the time to get yourself sorted. Press into the back of your head, slide your shoulder blades toward each other. Just kind of move your clothes around. Decide that you're going to be extra comfy. And start to settle into your breath. I have this Mary Oliver poem to read. It'd be a whole lot cooler if I had my glasses. We'll give it a whirl without glasses. I might have to hold it pretty far away. So we've talked a lot about what we should be doing right now, and I came across this Mary Oliver poem that spoke to me, and maybe it will speak to you. One day you finally knew what you had to do and began. Though the voices around you kept shouting their bad advice, though the whole house began to tremble and you felt the old tug at your ankles. Mend my life, each voice cried, but you didn't stop. You knew what you had to do, though the wind pried with its stiff fingers at the very foundation, though their melancholy was terrible. It was already late enough, and a wild night, and the road full of fallen branches and stones, but little by little, as you left their voices behind, the stars began to burn through the sheets of the clouds, and there was a new voice, which you slowly recognized as your own, that kept you company as you strode deeper and deeper into the world, determined to do the only thing you could do, determined to save the only life you could save. Find one more full deep breath. Maybe find a stretch. When you're ready, roll to your side. come to seated. We reach out and we reach up. We inhale. And we pull hands to heart center. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace.